need to be a few years younger.
What?
If you were a few years younger, you'd understand it better. I can say that, I'm up there too.
Who hired you?
1974.
Must have been here in my diapers.
I was.
Yeah, oh, okay, well, sorry for all that foolishness. We start at 10 o'clock, and it's 10 o'clock, or it's a little past 10 o'clock. So we would call to order the meeting of the Cabell County Commission, meeting in the third floor chambers of the courthouse, regular commission session for Thursday, June 23rd, 2022 at 10 o'clock. And we generally begin with a prayer and a pledge. If you would join me in prayer. Almighty God, the fountain of all wisdom, you know our necessities before we ask of the Cabell County Commission, have meeting in the
on our weakness and
third floor chambers of the courthouse, regular commission sessions.
We dare not.
For Thursday, June 23rd, 2022 at 10 o'clock. May your spirit be with us. We generally begin with a prayer and pledge. If you would join me in prayer.
Every day of our lives, seeking to
Almighty
serve
God,
you and do what
the fountain of all wisdom, you know our
All this we
necessities
ask
before we ask of the Cabell County Commission,
who lives and
have
reigns
meeting
in
in
the
on
Holy
our
Spirit.
weakness and third floor chambers of the courthouse, regular commission sessions.
We dare not.
For Thursday, June 23rd, 2022 at 10 o'clock. May your spirit be generally begin with a prayer and pledge. If you would join me in prayer. Seeking Almighty God, do what fountain of all wisdom. You know our necessities before we ask of the Cabell County Commission, who lives and reigns in our weakness and third floor chambers of the courthouse, regular commission sessions. We dare not. For Thursday, June 23rd, 2022 at 10 o'clock. May your spirit we generally begin with a prayer, pledge, and it would join every day of our lives.
Next would be to approve the
Almighty God, do what fountain of all wisdom. You know our necessities before we ask of the Cabell County Commission, who lives and reigns in our weakness and third floor chambers of the courthouse, regular commission sessions. We dare not. For Thursday, June 23rd. Next item would be approve purchase orders number 22-109397 through number 22-09676, and pay jackets monthly premiums to Fifth Third for fuel card purchases, handwritten checks to Unum for $8,102.61, and Guardian for $19,625.84. And for anybody, since there's some new faces, those two companies provide some of the benefits that we provide to the employees. So,
Move to approve.
been moved, seconded. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Next item would be citizens registered to speak, and we have Tania Creamer, who would like to speak on equine neglect. We are asking, because of the way that we are live now, if you would come to the little podium up here and let us know what you have in mind.
Thank you. Here?
Yes.
I'm Tania Creamer. I'm the founder and director of Heart of Phoenix Equine Rescue. We've been working in Cabell County for 12 years. For 12 years, we've covered all the costs of every horse that's been removed for neglect or cruelty for the county. The county has never covered those costs. We, as a nonprofit, have. We've aided in every single removal of every single horse in the past 12 years in this county. There's currently a situation on Finley Road in Milton, West Virginia, that's being handled very, very poorly. They're not following the state statutes. I would know because I'm also the in-hour service instructor and CLE credit instructor for the state of West Virginia for all counties for the purpose of officers attending, which the officers in this county have attended that free class that we offer at least once a year, so I know what the laws are. I do not know the reason for this, but I have a letter from a veterinarian that was asked out by the shelter director to see the horses, Dr. Clara Mason. She is the board chair of cruelty for the whole United States of America for the AAEP. There is not anyone that can speak better to cruelty to equines. She says, on June 16th of 2022, I scheduled a veterinary wellness appointment on the Clark Farms, West Mud River in Milton. Courtney Cross secured the appointment with me due to a possible neglectful situation of 12 horses belonging to a Mr. Clark. Ms. Cross was aware that our appointment time was 6 p.m. My tech and I arrived on the farm at 5:45. No one was in attendance. The tech walked up to the barn to see if anybody was in there waiting for us. She has attached photos of her walking to the barn. She contacted Heart of Phoenix. She called us, and she called Ms. Cross asking for assistance, letting them know that we were waiting for them. So a vet was sent without law enforcement to a neglect case. I've done hundreds of cases in 3 states. That is entirely unorthodox and very dangerous and a huge liability for the county. I waited 2 hours for either a shelter or law enforcement officer to arrive. Rod, an ACO from Cabell County, did finally arrive, as well as Brittany from Heart of Phoenix. We placed a 911 phone call asking for law enforcement to assist us. Rob explained that we had to leave the property because we did not have a warrant for us to be there. I accept compensation for my time. In addition, this is an egregious rumor circulating that I did not attend the scheduled appointment. That needs to be squashed, or I will secure legal counsel to remedy this situation. Ms. Cross never arrived on the farm while I was there. I'm confused how they could make a judgment that was, should be made by me and my technician. I expect an explanation on this debacle. Dr. Claire Mason, her contact. This is a letter that she has sent me to be forwarded on. My concern is that these horses are dying. I have photos. I have spoke all across the United States of America. I've been recognized internationally as an expert on equine welfare. I've been seeing these photos for 1 year. For 1 year, these horses have been in plain sight from this road, starving to death. Animal Control went out there on May 29th. They followed up with me and said a foal, which is a baby horse, had died. The horses were body scores of 1 and 2, which is very near death. They should have been seized then. This county has always been wonderful in 12 years. Seizing horses, I have been on every case. We have seized, we have successfully prosecuted every case. I do not know why these horses are still there after a year. The county said that they have had vets see these horses. I have checked and worked with every single equine vet in this area. That is untrue. Not one single equine vet has seen these horses. I have a statement from the vet that is now scheduled to see the horses, but not by the county. Dr. Brandy Jones is now going to see the horses at the end of the month. Well, they may be dead, they may be given away, they may be gone. I asked and clarified, did the county have you schedule this appointment? No. The man now, after over a year, has scheduled the appointment. No vet has seen these horses to this time. So it's just, the county really absolutely can do better than this, because I've worked with them for 12 years and I know they do better. I don't know if this person has connections, but it's very concerning to me. So I have photos, I have emails, I have a million print screens of what has actually taken place. But especially in a situation where we have worked with this county and we have done this over and over, I know when something's wrong, and there is something wrong here. And there are 12 horses that should have already been safe, and they are not safe because of the mishandling of this at a level that the commission can override based on state statute. The commission can direct the sheriff's department to go in and handle this properly. So that's what I'm asking that they do before it's too late for the horses that are there, if they are still there. The man certainly could have removed them by now. But for a county that's always been so good, compared to many counties in this state that have not, I hate to see them take a back step when I've always felt they've handled things very well. That's all I have to say, and I'll leave this with you guys to look over.
It's my understanding that the sheriff is the chief humane officer for the county, not the county commission. I do sit on the Animal Control Board, but only as a member and not as the chairman or president of the Animal Control Board. I suspect, from various things we've gotten in the mail and conversations, that there are other issues involved. If the sheriff would like to make a comment, we'd be delighted to have him do that.
I will. Thank you. First of all, there was never a complaint filed with our office a year ago. So there is a vet scheduled at the end of the month. 4 independent other vets have looked at pictures of these horses and said they do not need to be taken. two of the horses are scoring very bad. They need rehab, and there's a course of action to take care of that. The horses are still on the property, they're not going to be removed from the property, and we have took an improvement period with these people. We've had people that have went to equine school that have scored these horses, and none of these horses score in the area to where they need to be taken. So, and I'm not going to argue this case in front of this body. I have never been contacted until today about this. She's waged war on us on Facebook. That seems to be the place that everybody wants to file a complaint these days. We have an open investigation. We've got multiple professionals looking at this case, and we got it under control, and we don't need your services anymore.
Well, I mean, that's fine. We've invested $200,000 in this county rehabbing horses for the county. So that's fine. I just want to circle back and mention the vet that is seeing these horses, Dr. Brandy Jones, I have in writing here, saying that she recommended seizure of the horses, that John Rutherford reached out to her, showed her the photos on the 29th. When circled back, I have in writing, and this is a vet that's seeing the horses in writing. She said the horses need seized. You can read it for yourself directly from Brandy
When
Jones.
she sees them on the 29th, and if that's what she recommends, then that's what we'll do.
Well, that sounds
It's not
good.
going to be you to make the call. You are not making the
Well,
call.
I will just say for 12 years, every case that has happened in this county, they have depended on me to make the call whether to seize, and a vet has always come out and upheld that recommendation.
Okay.
So this sounds very personal toward me, which I think is very evident. For 12 years, every case that's happened,
Wait.
we have successfully done very well.
Ms.
Dr.
Creamer, wait a minute. For those of us, I understand horses. I was the ringmaster for the Junior League Horse Show for a number of years. Ride horses, did until one of them decided my back didn't want to do that anymore. But, so if you seize a horse, do you compensate the owner?
No, so there would be a legal case, and if it's found that they neglected the horse, then the owner is liable for the cost, and then the county, then there's a legal proceeding where then they would be, if found guilty, then they would not be allowed to own animals for 5 years, and there would be potentially legal fees, et cetera. However, I will say in this county, there has never been any judgment of money collected when someone has been found guilty. It ends that they don't have the money.
But the owner of the horse at that point gets nothing.
Well, no, because they neglected the horse.
Okay, so now then, you've got the horses, I
Yes,
guess.
we have the horses.
What do you do with them?
So usually we invest between $2,000 and $5,000 in the rehab of horses when they're seized. We usually have them about a year. When they are rehabbed, we have people apply to adopt them, and then they will adopt the horses out, between 1 and sometimes 2 and 3 years later.
Do you sell them? How do you recover your money?
So we're a 501c3 nonprofit, so we are entirely donation funded. So the horses, usually adoption fees are $600 to $800 if the horse is healthy eventually. It costs us in rehabilitation usually $400 or so a month, not including vet and farrier. So a horse usually recoups with this adoption fee about 5% of what has gone into the rehab of the horse. And if the horse needs training, then that may be $500 to $800 more a month. Our budget, we spend about $60,000 a month in 3 states rehabbing horses, or the bulk of every county in West Virginia that does seizures, and the eastern Kentucky and southern Ohio. So that's the way we've always worked. So this county has never borne the burden of the rehabilitation cost of any horse that we have ever taken, because most counties could not have done that. There are no counties in West Virginia that would continue to seize if they had to bear those costs.
In the event that the person goes to court and gets their horse back, have you not been held in contempt for not giving those horses back to someone?
We have never had a case where we have been ordered to give the horses back. There is a case that's been appealed to the Supreme Court in Putnam County because there was a magistrate that misunderstood the law, and the prosecutor stood behind us and said that the magistrate did not follow the law, and they stand behind that case. So that case was appealed to the Supreme Court. The county has taken this on to the Supreme Court, so no.
In this case, in this instance, we're going to seek help other places.
Well, and that's fine. There is no other organization in the state of West Virginia that does this sort of thing. But I think that's interesting that after 12 years, because they have mishandled the case, they suddenly don't want to work with us. They've done us no favors. This county isn't doing us favors. We were doing the county favors. So I think that reflects very poorly on both the sheriff's department and the county if that's the position after this amount of time. And the amount of recognition we have brought this state for the work that we do. So that's up to you. But I assure you that every equine vet in this area works with us, has looked at the photos, and has recommended seizure, which is reflected in this. And as I said, Dr. Claire Mason, who went out at the request of the county, then was not able to see the horses, is the chair for the United States American Academy of Equine Practitioners, and she says in writing in here, the horses do need seized.
Do you all have, if you're a 501c3, are your finances available?
Yes, we are audited because of the amount of money. We are audited and have to submit those financials to the state because we're over the threshold that requires an audit. In addition, we independently are Thoroughbred Aftercare accredited, which audits and accredits us. There's only a few organizations that have that standard in the United States of America.
And I understand that, the 29th of June, these horses are going to have something done for them, to them, or with them?
So Dr. Brandy Jones says she is going out there, she had said the 28th.
28th.
Maybe that's been moved to the 29th. But previously, she had already recommended the horses be seized, and that is in these documents, which I will give back, so that she had already seen and recommended seizure previously of the herd of horses.
Okay. Well, I guess on 6/28 or 29, Sheriff? 29.
Everything falls on my back. I'm ready to take the responsibility of these horses. I stand behind what I said. We've opened an investigation. It's ongoing. We've involved multiple professional organizations.
But no names have been mentioned. Notice, I have given the names.
Wait a minute, hold it. Time out.
Okay.
Just, I think it's out of the commission's hands unless one of the commissioners wants to make some kind of motion or the other. Otherwise, we'll defer to the county's humane officer, who is the sheriff, that on the 28th or the 29th, a veterinarian, whether Dr. Mason or who, will look at those horses and make a judgment, and everybody will then stand by that judgment, as I understand what I'm being told, to which you agreed, I think.
Yes, so we work with them.
Okay,
often, so.
good. Okay, then.
Thank you.
Thank you. In that case, we'll move on. First item on the, numbered item on the agenda is item number 170. Generally, we have a letter from the Cabell County Assessor who receives funds from the payment from the dog fund, and it says zero. Is that...
Yes, they did not collect any in May.
Okay, so that no money collected in May, Assessor Johnson doesn't get any. Don't think we need anything on that. The next item, which I'm sure many of you are here for, we're delighted you're here to see your county government at work and listening and other things. The ARPA requests, we have studied carefully how we can best use the money that we have received, which is far less than what has been requested. If you happen to pick up an agenda, you can see that the Public Service District and the Huntington Sanitary Board combined have requested about $30 million. And the total amount that we will get in two separate tranches, is that the correct name, is about $17 million. And of course, there are other things that the money will be spent on. But if there are representatives of the Sanitary Board, Culloden Public Service District, Pea Ridge Public Service District, City of Milton, and the Salt Rock Public Sewer District, we'd like to take a picture, and we'd like for you all to come up with us. We have nothing to give you other than if this passes, we would propose, maybe we ought to do it the other way around, vote on this, and then have a picture. The $1 million which we have, after discussion, I believe, with each one of these districts, found that we can't fund the project. We just don't have enough to say, particular one is Guyana Estates, we're going to fix that. But with the $1 million, it is money that can be used as match money for grants and other funds that are available, which will allow each one of these districts to use this money to help them in what they consider to be their highest and most needed expenditure. So it's not everything you want, but it's a lot. And I think either one of you folks...
We're also hopeful that some of the infrastructure money that hopefully is coming to the state of West Virginia, $6 or $7 billion that's been discussed. We've sent a letter to the governor asking for consideration to get a chunk of that so we can hopefully be able to, continue to fund some of those much-needed infrastructure projects that were asked for in these ARPA requests that we just, unfortunately, not enough to go around for everybody, unfortunately, but we're trying to do the best that we can.
And I think we're probably the first local entity to ask for that, of the governor. We got our request in early and often, so hopefully he'll remember Cabell County, the legislature, whenever the money does come in at the federal level, because $7 billion, I mean, it sounds like a lot of money, and it may not go a long way when you think of the infrastructure needs throughout the state, but we hope that Cabell County and some of these projects can be more greatly funded than what we're doing here today. And I would like to say that it's my personal desire that Guyana Estates gets done ASAP.
I think it's interesting, we've mentioned the $6 or $7 billion. The word from Washington was there will be more money than there are contractors to spend it in West Virginia. We'd love to see that, but at this point that remains to be seen. So then we have before us item number 171 is to approve these requests.
I will move to approve those.
I will second.
And I will call for a motion, and all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. The requests are approved, and if you folks would, some of you come up and we'll snap a photo and put it on our webpage, giving away money.
Thank you, guys. My first goal, that was to make sure we weren't aggravating people on hands for cash, but this is you, Joe. Line up over here. Where you want us?
Any place. Might even have to stand in front of it. We're delighted to have you with us. We're good, I think. And I guess the final answer is the check will be in the mail. We thank you all for all you do and the strain that you're under with lack of funds, and I'm sure that the people who use your service every now and then may get a little rowdy, but at any rate, we hope that this helps. Right.
Thank you, Jim. Thank you so much. This is a big help.
Okay.
Thank you. Okay. We have a... Oh, okay.
Don't forget these two. Don't forget the two CARES ones we need to do.
I thought we just voted on the whole thing. Oh, we want...
Well, we just want to specify them, so.
Okay.
You can vote on the whole thing, I guess. It's up to you. I don't.
Want pictures?
Whatever. No.
Okay.
I think
I'll mention.
Gordon wants to talk a little bit about what he's going to do with it.
Okay.
And the sheriff's going to say the same thing.
Okay. give them a little money and away they go.
Should you, maybe elected officials, introduce Tom Canterbury and the city council?
Any of them that don't want it, I'll be glad to take it.
Typically we do, right?
I miss them. Bill, last. On those, grants that we just did, there's, the CARES money, which was, partially funded through the state for replacement and, other funding, and the Cabell County EMS, it's got, $700,000, and the sheriff, they got $198,000.
Yeah, during the CARES money, the state was reimbursing first responder salary, and that was the last little bit that the county had applied for through EMS and through the sheriff's department, and those were pieces that did not get funded through CARES. It ended before those got funded. So the commission is going to replace that with the ARPA money, and I think Gordon and Chuck would both like to talk a little bit about what they're going to do with that money.
You're on TV.
Back of your head.
I'm very grateful for the $700,000. Basically, what I'm going to do with the money, with your all's approval, is we're working on replace our radio tower site in Barbersville. And I'm going to take that money and put towards putting a new tower in, which will help police, fire, and EMS for the county. This is something that I feel very strong about. We need to get our radio systems up to date for the safety of our first responders. And this is one step. Basically, EMS is going to put the bill for the tower. Well, ultimately, you all are putting it. That's how I intend to spend the money to help the community to better serve the citizens of Cabell County.
New location or?
New location, yes, sir. That's with the cooperation of the mayor of Barbersville. He gave us the piece of property, and we're going to, as soon as we finish this meeting, we're going to move forward very quickly. The sheriff and I have to appear before council in Barbersville and get the final sign-off, and then we're going to move and build the tower. So basically, it's helping everybody. It's not just going back to EMS, it's going back to all first responders in the county.
That's very generous and kind of you. Thank you.
Well, and then,
You gotta get up here.
what Gordon said was basically, you've already agreed that we're going to update all the tower sites and all the radios. But Barbersville Tower is end of life, and we had to do something. And we didn't have enough money, and we didn't want to ask you all for more money for once. We didn't want to do that. So what the $200,000 that I'm getting is going to go toward the radio project because it's running a little bit behind, and we're doing some last minute scrambling. And Gordon paying for the tower, the $200 here. We're going to be able to make it happen because the radio system in the county is about the end of life too. So we got to keep that up, and like Gordon says, that's all fire, EMS, and police. Barbersville, Milton, all of us feed off these towers and these radios. So we appreciate you that take care of us, but just kind of wanted you to know where it was going to go. Thank you.
And we appreciate you all taking care of us.
Yep.
In the community.
Item number 172 is a resolution of the Cabell County Commission in the matter of advertisement for an invitation to bid for supplying scaffolding for Phase 1 of Clock Tower Repair Project up there.
Right. We have an architect who has suggested.
If I have to.
I understand. As you all know, there's several issues with our clock tower. This age has basically caused some of the metal to be separated from the wood, and in trying to assess all the issues, our architect They said, well, you have to build scaffolding to fix it anyway, so let's go ahead and break it into 2 projects. One, we're going to erect scaffolding all the way around the clock tower in order for contractors to be able to assess what needs to be done and bid intelligently when it comes time to actually do repairs on the clock tower. So we've had several consultants come in and talk about the scaffolding and make sure that that they don't do any damage to the roof or any sort of, basically just to address any issues that might come up, and that way we have our person will be able to assess the issues with the wood and the metal.
So we will look like
We'll
the Capitol.
For a little while. And one of our options is to, we have it in there a couple different ways, just to build the scaffolding. Another one does involve encapsulation in case the project moves into colder months. But we're anticipating this to be about a all part 5 to 6 month project.
Not 5 years like the Capitol.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I mean, you can't hold me to that, but that's our goal.
Nor cost, nor other things.
Well,
I guess.
and that's,
right.
like I say, this will help us in assessing that cost, rather than have 5 or 6 different contractors, including scaffolding in their bid. The scaffolding will already be there, and we'll be able to.
Well, we all took a tour a couple weeks ago of everything, and I climbed up in the clock tower. My legs felt it the next day. And so it definitely is, you can tell from the inside what's really needs to be.
We were actually fortunate enough, or unfortunate enough, to be in the clock tower on May 6th when we had that major storm. And I personally witnessed water coming in on several different areas and unfortunately it's going to end up in our inner dome at some point, so we have to stop it now.
Got to preserve these beautiful buildings, for sure.
Have a motion to adopt the resolution?
I will move to adopt.
I'll second.
All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Next would be, we have distinguished guests with us, but item number 173, discussion and action regarding what is known as the West Virginia Open Checkbook. And Commissioner Sabanya has led us and driven us to this point, and would you like to?
Well, would you like to, we have our honored guest, McCuskey here.
I'd rather hear from you.
Well, I'll say a few things.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
Let me start, Caleb, it's great to see you.
You too.
But it does make me realize this is our first meeting since Nancy passed. And it was a shock and saddening to our office, as I'm sure it was to everybody else. She was somebody that we relied on heavily for years, and she was a real champion for Cabell County. We were so sad when we heard the news. But welcome, Caleb.
Thanks, good to see you.
You got a big seat to fill. And Jim, it was really nice to hear you finally admit that you were a ringleader. I believe I heard you say that earlier. I've seen you be a ringleader.
Ringmaster.
The horses were different that you were ringleading.
We had whole horses at Camden Park, and on the other end, I'm not sure which part of the horse.
In the circus that you and I participated in, the other end of the horse was frequently forward. So we're here today to talk about the checkbook. I think just now the lead-in here, which is really important, is you guys are doing exactly what our office has asked for the last 3.5 years with regard to the ARPA and the CARES Act money. You had a group of people who have water, sewer, infrastructure problems, and you are allocating that money to make sure that people that live in these towns have access to clean water that's affordable, and that it stops flooding every single time it rains. And I think everybody here realizes that, we do have this $4, $5, $6, $7 billion opportunity here. And if our state and our local governments spend this money the way we have for the last 100 years, we're going to wake up 10 years from now and everyone's going to say, well, what do we do with that money? And I think that if we can put that money in the ground and we can invest in things that last, I think all of us are going to be way better off. As businesses are trying to move here, internet is great, but like I said before, nobody's going to build a business where you can't flush a toilet. And you guys are doing the right thing, and I'm really excited to see that. And I was very happy to be here to see that as well. The way the checkbook works is that it allows you to tell that story. And the reason why it's important is that the people all over Cabell County, not just the people tuning into the live stream here, will now have the opportunity through the checkbook site to say, hey, good on you, County Commission. You know, we've entrusted you with this money. The federal government has entrusted you with this money, and you can show them that, hey, we are using it to build things that matter, to build things that will last, and to build things that will make your community safer, stronger, and better. And so I'm really excited that you guys are going to be a part of this program, and my staff and I would love to answer any questions you guys have.
Well, obviously, it takes the cooperation of our clerk and the county commission as a whole, and just grateful that we all, you know, are on the same page to, you know, we keep in mind that this is the taxpayer's dollar, and it's not government's dollar. I mean, we just say, we're elected to say where it goes, and so I think it's important for the taxpayers to be able to have an easy way to track their dollar, because all of this is open to the public anyway. It just makes it a lot easier for the public to, you know, see how their government works. And for those of you that don't know, Auditor McCuskey and I served in the legislature together, as well as Jim Morgan, but we were across the table from each other in judiciary.
Yeah.
And so we had a lot of battles on our hands during that time, but it was something that the state, during our tenure, I think it was maybe our last year that we were there. I think you went on to was the year before that?
I did this. This was all after I got
Okay. And we had like the discussion of making it be transparent, the state money be transparent to the taxpayers. And so this also allows the enabling legislation to give it over to the cities and the counties. So anyway, I'm just glad that you're here and we're able to expand this even further beyond the ARPA funds.
Yeah.
Because we test drove it, you know, we wanted to see how that would work, and it seems to be working very well. And
yeah, and this isn't our first time here, and we've worked through some of the issues, and at this point, I believe you guys will be our 44th county on the checkbook, which is a huge accomplishment for our county governments around the state. I believe we are up to about 65 cities, and so the goal when we started the checkbook was to make West Virginia the most transparent state government in the country, and we have accomplished that, and we are using that technology to help counties. And like I said earlier, it's really about three groups of people. The first group is everybody, right? Citizens deserve to be able to see what their government's doing with their money and hold everyone that's elected accountable for how that is. The media deserves to have the same access so that they can write the stories that people want to hear and that they have access to public information. And lastly, you all deserve access to information in a way that you understand. Government accounting systems aren't designed for commissioners. They're not designed for legislators. They're not designed for, typically, the decision makers who are voting. And what this technology does is it gives each one of you a window into the finances of the county, which will make you more effective commissioners. It'll make you more effective budgeters, and it'll make it easier for you to make decisions in real time. So we are just so excited that you guys are coming on board, and as always, we'll be here every step to make sure that it works properly and that it's created in a way that you guys feel very comfortable with. And you are correct. You and I have been talking about this for a very long time.
The person who really is going to make it all work is our county clerk, Phyllis Smith. Would we have a comment of yours.
Didn't read my comment.
Phyllis says she's pleased with the way the program has worked for use with the county's ARPA funds and feels complete implementation will allow county residents to be sure the clerk's office continues to provide up-to-date information. So,
Phyllis, thank you. And I'll tell you that the county clerks of our state often get just a little tiny bit overlooked, but they have a role that's very similar to mine. And that is one of those things where if you're doing everything right, no one notices. And if you mess something up, everyone gets really mad. And so what we always say is if you pay 99% of the people properly, 1% of the people are really mad. And so thank you for your hard work. And it is no small task, and we truly appreciate everything that you and your staff have done and will do.
Is your proper title just auditor, or are you commissioner auditor, or are you secretary auditor?
I usually go with like the grand poobah, or
Okay.
at home, I'm usually just
Hey you.
or summarily ignored. But you can just call me JB School.
Well, JB, we're honored to have you with us today, and we do says on the agenda action, so I would think that we should take a vote to implement fully, as time allows, to use the open checkbook system. Is that correct?
Yeah, we're voting to expand it, actually, because we already participate, so.
Right.
I will second.
Okay, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. You gonna applaud for us, Fred?
I'll just say, I'd like to say, it's good to see you, JB. That goes back to 2004, a long time ago, so.
It has been.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you worked in the legislature too, right?
No. I mean, I just helped campaigns,
Oh,
but
for some reason, I
no.
thought you were like one of the council.
Nope, not me.
He just looks like it.
No, so.
I was actually to cook for you already once today. The mayor of Salt Rock said, "I know who you are."
No.
No, it was Salt Rock.
No.
There's no mayor in Salt Rock.
Oh, it was.
Well, there is one, but it's
Yeah,
not official.
Jordan was here.
okay.
Yeah.
And he said, "I know for a fact that you're Caleb Gibson."
Oh, boy.
I said, "That's quite a compliment. Caleb's about 10 years younger than I am, but I am in fact not Caleb."
Did you want to introduce your staff real quick?
Yeah, sure. So I got, so Skylar in the back is the person who will be your day-to-day contact on this project. So Skylar is in charge of this. He's managing it for all the counties that are on board. He manages the state site, and he's actually a true expert on the technology and all of its capabilities. And then Callie Cart, who many of you, she used to be on the news in Charleston, and here too, right? Why are you chuckling? You're not infamous. And she is our deputy chief of staff now, and she takes care of a whole myriad of things. And then Jeff Wickwright's in the back, who sort of takes care of all the day-to-day stuff with the office. So, and he used to be the county clerk of Jackson County for what, 50 years? You were something like that? Just 24. And so, as our clerks have questions, Jeff has been a great resource for them in explaining how the process. I'm not introducing Zach. He's just here. If Zach's mom was here, I would introduce her. No, this is Zach Perry, and Zach's mom just came on to work with us. She's in charge of our dilapidated buildings project. And so she was in charge of tearing down buildings in Huntington, which is the most successful dilapidated building removal project. Crystal Perry is, and she now is our director of the dilapidated buildings project. And so she is implementing her incredible expertise in that specific area throughout the whole state. And we will be, in the very near future, asking all of our local governments that got ARP and CARES Act allocations to set aside some of that for our statewide dilapidated building removal process. That problem isn't just in Huntington. That problem is in Charleston and Morgantown and Martinsburg and Beckley and Logan and Mingo and you name it. WVU estimates that we have $550 million worth of dilapidated buildings that need removed. It's going to be up to the local governments, in my opinion, to find the funding to do that, because there's so many other things. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
I'm just going to remind you about the $7 billion the state's getting.
Oh, yeah, I got it.
Because you heard, well, yeah, we got $44 million in request.
I am not the governor. The one thing that I do have is an incredible relationship with our local governments, and what I love to make them be is as independent as possible. And I love for them to...
The state needs to give us some funding.
I would absolutely love to be able to give you guys money.
We gotta pay the jail bill.
What I can do is set up a system where you guys can use your own money in a way that's independent of state oversight. And as I talk to local governments...
But it's already used.
A lot of it is, sure, but a lot of it isn't. And so the goal is, and the reason that I mention it, is that local governments are constantly telling me how much they want to be out from underneath the oversight of state government. They want to do their own thing, and they want to be able to use their money their own way, and we're creating a system where local governments can do that themselves. We're going to set up the fund. We're going to help you guys bid it out in a way that is much larger and way less expensive. And we're going to help everyone from the land side, from the legal side, from the title search side, to make sure that all of these properties can be torn down quickly and placed in an ownership standing that enables somebody to do something good with it. right? So what we're trying to do is get out-of-state land grabbers who don't care about our communities from buying houses and selling them to unsuspecting low-income people and getting the homes in the hands of our counties and cities and our economic development corporations so that our communities can start to rebuild themselves. And that is, nothing would make me happier than to walk into the legislature, get $500 million, bring it out, and go tear down every building in the state. But I think you and I and everybody here knows that that's going to be a tougher slog than us starting with our own money, with the money that the counties and cities have themselves, so that they can be independent of that process and things can happen a little more quickly.
Is that a very long way of saying, I'm from Charleston and I'm here to help you? Is that what that is?
I think what I would say, Jim, is that I'm from Clarksburg, and I understand
Okay.
how infrequently Charleston helps you.
Right. Well, it's a pleasure to have you with us.
Nice to have you guys as well.
Maybe if you could whisper to Baby Dog about the $7 billion in infrastructure, and then that can get on to the governor, so.
I will tell my dog Pearl to talk to Baby Dog. Pearl and Baby Dog have a great relationship. Same language, so. And Pearl's really into dilapidated building removal. My dog is Pearl Buck-Husky. And so she's really interested in tearing down buildings. But thank you guys again for everything.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And I
Thank
will look forward to
all you folks back there in the corner.
Thank you.
Delighted to have you. And we'll
Spend some
move,
money on Cabell while you're here.
Already did.
Buy some lunch or
I
something here.
think it's important to put on the record while we're being recorded, everything, that how beneficial, that I think that this will be to everyone in Cabell County to be able to see how efficient, transparent our county government already is before this, and has been. So, and thanks to Kelly and thanks to Phyllis and everybody working together to hopefully make this work.
Safe travels.
item 174 is a resolution of the Cabell County Commission regarding reclassification of Charles Dodrell to per diem paramedic.
So moved.
Second?
Moved and seconded, all in favor, aye.
Aye.
Item 175 is approval of the Cabell County Commission regarding, have to get this all in one breath, West Virginia Local Government Election and Release Form Endo/PAR, West Virginia Statewide Opioid Settlement Agreement. And as I understand it, this is the settlement that is or will come from the state's opioid lawsuits.
Correct, Attorney General. This is something we have to submit as part of that settlement.
To get some money?
Yes.
Right. Have a motion?
Move to approve.
I'll second.
Moved and seconded, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Item number 176 is to approve additional hotel occupancy tax funding request fiscal year 2021-2022. And that is money, of course, that comes from the additional tax on rooms in hotel, motel that are in the county.
This particular request is from the Soccer Association, Western Soccer Association, and they're getting ready to have their tournament. They are requesting money from the current fiscal year. They've requested $30,000. Typically, they've requested $20,000. Kind of up to you all what you want to.
And they just had this tournament last week, correct? Nope.
They're coming up.
They had one last week.
Had one last
Yeah, it started last week.
Now this is the big one. that's
Yeah.
The
coming.
big, okay.
Right.
This is the national, it's all across the eastern.
And it brings a lot of people in. I saw license plates this past weekend, restaurants from New Jersey, New York.
Yeah, I did too.
Friday to Monday.
Okay.
What did we give them last year?
Last year, you didn't give them anything, you didn't give anybody anything on the hotel motel
Right,
last year.
right.
But in years past, you've done 20,000.
They didn't do anything the year before.
Is there consideration from the commission?
I mean, I think this is a great event for the community and the county, and brings a lot of people in, and since there was no funding last year.
Okay. I was warming up for what he was going to say, I think.
In 2016.
You're on the
Did you make a
floor.
motion?
I didn't, but I was waiting if you all had other comments. Sounds like you do.
No, I think it's good for our community, so, yeah, I'm supportive of it.
And we may or may not be able to do whatever we do every year, but every year that is one of the things that we work on as to what we feel is the best use of the money, so.
And this is
Caleb?
going back to this current year, or this one that,
It's in the current year, so, yes.
I would move to approve.
30,
I think so. I'm fine with 30.
Second.
okay, the motion before us then is to approve out of,
And you said she can get that tomorrow.
the additional funding as requested by the West Virginia Soccer Association that we have always supported for $30,000. All in, it's been moved, what?
Made the motion.
Caleb.
Seconded.
All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. And we have one more, I think.
Actually, there are two or three for the upcoming fiscal year, 22-23. Heritage Farm Foundation is requesting $10,000. Huntington Symphony Orchestra is requesting $20,000. Pumpkin Festival is requesting $10,000. Kindred Charities is requesting $10,000.
You just got $1 million.
So there are four for the additional, you all had already approved some for 22-23, and these are four more that came in for the 22-23 fiscal year.
Is the,
50 total.
I should have, but I don't have, the amount requested within our means to fund, if we would fund them all at the rate they ask.
Yes. We should.
And so,
They'll go out at different times throughout the year.
right.
Sandy kind of looks at when their event is coming up, once you all approve them, and then she sends those out throughout the year. It's not like they're all at once.
And these all certainly appear to be things, we talked about the soccer tournament, bringing people in. I think everything that's in here is
Attracts a crowd.
something that attracts a crowd, and nobody received any grant last year, is that correct? You didn't get any? Nobody got any?
Other than Heritage, the other three are things you all do every year.
Right.
We have them.
And I think Heritage is using this to start something new, as I understood what it was.
It's the construction of a new grade 8-foot-high fence so they can host elk.
Can keep elk on their property, which is something you just don't see in Cabell County, the elk, or Wayne County, wandering around.
Yeah, it's for tourism and for school children.
Yeah.
So I would make a motion that we approve the request.
I'll second.
All in favor, signify by saying aye.
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 Just like home, wife asked and we give, you know. We approve that additional
Roll call on that
spending
one.
then. Next item on the agenda, we generally do together to place on record minutes to be recorded, Pea Ridge Public Service District regular board meeting, March 14th, 2022. Pea Ridge Public Service District regular board meeting, April 11th, 2022. Other documents to be recorded, monthly statement of the assessor of Cabell County for the month of May 2022. Pea Ridge Public Service District Field and Managers Report, January 2022 and March 2022. Pea Ridge Public Service District General Ledger Income Statement and Balance State Sheet for periods 9 and 10, year ending 2022.
Move to approve.
I'll second.
Move to approve that these items be placed on record. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
We have next Commissioners' Representation Reports, Good and Welfare of Cabell County. And amongst after that, we sign a lot of documents and would then adjourn. Does any commissioner have more to say?
Well, yesterday we had our first Teams meeting with the legislative working group that was put together by legislative leadership on the regional jail per diem costs. And myself, Commissioner Tenscher, and Commissioner Price were the three commissioners asked to be on that working group. And I feel like we're all optimistic. The other commissioners, we spoke afterwards, and we're very optimistic that the legislative leadership is willing to listen to some of our concerns and moving forward how we can try to get the regional jail costs on the counties reduced or have a solution for that, because that does play a big burden on all the counties across the state. So we feel very very good about it. So it was a good meeting, one of many.
Well,
The first of many.
if there's $6 or $7 billion, maybe they can float some and fix that too. Delighted to have you all stay and watch us sign papers if you'd like to. We will move on doing that then.